Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. The Saskatchewan government announced their new guidelines for the upcoming school year. Connor Chan has an in-depth look at what the plan will be going back.
Well, Tuesday was a big day for the Saskatchewan government as they announced their Safe School Plan with just 4 weeks to go until students hit the classrooms once again. Now, the plan focuses on designated seating and minimizing physical contact in classrooms and hallways, as well as staggered class times and recesses as well. There will be assigned seating on buses for those students who take the bus, but parents are encouraged to bring their kids to school if possible. Now, all school divisions must have designated entrance and exits for the students and staff, as well as a safe, isolated area for anyone that is experiencing COVID symptoms for them to isolate themselves away from the students and the staff until they can be properly picked up. The province is starting at level 1 with this return to school as close to normal as possible with additional health measures and precautions. If things get worse, level 2 references mask usage will be determined by the chief medical health officer and will be distributed to school divisions. Level 3 will see school capacity reduced, and level 4 will bring back mandatory learning from home. While this plan provides some clarity for how things will run, the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation knows the rising case of COVID numbers in Saskatchewan. They're wondering why more extreme measures aren't being done now rather than later.
Well, I mean, we've seen numbers increase steadily for the last little while here in Saskatchewan, and so why would we not decide right now that we're going to more extreme measures? So there's still so many specific details that teachers and parents want to hear in order to know and have confidence that our schools are truly safe spaces. And we now have about 3 weeks in order to get this right.
Now, one of the big topics of conversation was, are masks going to be mandatory in Saskatchewan schools? We know that the Alberta government are making masks mandatory for grades 4 to 12. Saskatchewan will not be making masks mandatory come September 1st. They are buying masks, though, as a precautionary, but the Saskatchewan Teachers Federation believes everyone from pre-K up until grade 12 should be wearing a mask right from the very start.
Just sourcing masks isn't good enough. We need to enforce their use. Because otherwise, and waiting until it gets worse really seems like a strange move. So we know that there's lots of cases out there, and we know that that it's better to be preventative than waiting for an outbreak.
Adds that teachers want to go back to school and teach in front of their students, but they want to make sure that they're able to do it safely. Now, the education minister also added that things could change and the plans could change even if things continue to go the way they do in Saskatchewan, and this will be a school-by-school basis and that it's an evolving situation. Schools are expected to open up here in the province on September 1st, and a reminder to parents, if your child is feeling sick, they are required to stay home. Connor Chan, Primetime Local News.
The City of Cold Lake is reaching out to other municipalities looking for support against the federal government's new gun legislation. Eric Bay sits down with Cold Lake Mayor Craig Copeland to discuss the city's stance.
The federal government's new gun legislation has raised some questions across Canada, and I'm joined today by the Mayor of Cold Lake, Mayor Craig Copeland. Mayor, thank you for joining me today. And the City of Cold Lake actually wrote a letter to other municipalities and the federal government in opposition of the new legislation. Can you just speak on the city's position on this topic?
It was brought forward by one of our councillors, Councillor Soroka, and he said, this amendment that they've done really is penalizing people, legal, law-abiding people that own firearms. And really, the feds are trying to go somewhere that, in our opinion, really isn't going to amount to get guns off the street illegally. And so we're just saying that the $400 to $600 million that they're putting towards buying back certain, ammunition and cartridges and stuff isn't really going to meet the end goal. And we just feel that there's better ways to use that money. And so we've had great response to the municipalities out there in Western Canada that we put the letter to get letter support. We wrote to the Minister Blair asking him to sort of pull back the order in council.
And now just speaking on that, the contents there again, you mentioned that it doesn't really fit, in your opinion, with crime reduction and what the government is trying to do. Can you just explain, I guess, a little more in depth as to why you feel it's more punishing to those law-abiding citizens,
Well, so many people in Canada go about the right ways of obtaining firearms and get proper training, and so we just feel that when they brought in this order in council very quietly, it caught everybody. The response that we're getting from people from across Canada has been quite overwhelming. We've never had so many shares on our Facebook with this press release that we did, and people commented back that they didn't know the federal government was doing these kind of changes. So I think you got to be careful in today's world that you're introducing. Everybody, of course, was really upset with what happened in Nova Scotia, and with all those people losing their lives, with somebody with took matters in his hands, and we're not supporting that. Is what we're just saying is that there's people in Canada that go about doing their business properly, and we just feel that they're being penalized. They handle firearms in a proper trained method, and there's gun collectors across Canada, and we just say, let's respect these people's rights to having these firearms, and they're doing it the proper way, and that the bad people out there are still going to go about finding ways of getting illegal firearms and committing the crimes. And we just, this on our council, we're here to work with each other, and we had a council that brought this issue forward. We analyzed it, and we all supported Councillor Soroka's motion, and then we sent it to Minister Blair. We haven't heard back from the federal government yet on our letter, but we really are really happy with the response we've gotten from municipalities across Western Canada. Have jumped on board and have sent letters to the minister also supporting what Cold Lake has done.
Now you bring up those municipalities. What kind of feedback have you been hearing from them? And also, what kind of support are you seeing from those other municipalities in Western Canada?
Well, we were contacted by a lot of municipalities, and a lot of them have just taken the letter that we wrote to them, asking them for support. So basically, everybody's jumping on board, and those that are making motions in their council, and they're writing to the Minister Blair, asking him to sort of pull out the order in council that they've done on the firearms, and look at putting that money towards better use. And so it's from very tiny villages to counties, especially in Saskatchewan. There's been a lot of big support in Saskatchewan on our motion, and into in rural Alberta, counties and municipalities are jumping on board. So that's what we're here for, to all work together as municipalities. And you always in this business always get letters requesting support from other municipalities on other initiatives, and we're happy that to see so many municipalities agree with us on this one. And what's really interesting, we've had a lot of individuals contact us and thanking us for jumping in on this. And like I said before, they were totally unaware this was going on.
And now, again, you mentioned that the federal government, you haven't heard back from them. Is there any next steps you guys have beyond this letter at this point in time?
Well, we're going to bring it back to council in August at our next meeting and just sort of discuss that. It's a great question. So we're kind of like, this is what happens when you write to the federal government, is like it's sometimes crickets. And so we're going to see what our next step is, and consider some other options. But I think really public awareness is really the big thing, and that's your job as a municipal council. Is we're the grassroots of politics, community, and people in our community have all been positive. There hasn't been really a lot of negative people against what we're trying to do, because what we're trying to shed light is we're not supporting violent crimes, and we're saying to put that money towards more policing, more understanding at the border how these illegal firearms are getting into Canada.
All right, Mayor, really appreciate your time here today. Thank you.
Now our Connor Chan will take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. It was definitely a very, very warm day out in Lloydminster today, as we currently sit right now 27 degrees. So we didn't quite get to the 30-degree mark, but still very warm nonetheless. A little bit of cloud coverage though, but still sitting at mostly clear skies at 27. Here's what it looks like for the rest of the Midwest region here. Vermilion and Vegreville also sitting at 27 degrees, with Edmonton out west sitting at 28. Pierceland also sitting at 28, with Lac La Biche sitting at 26. Bonnyville and Cold Lake up north sitting at 27. Both Provost and Macleod sitting at 28 degrees. Maidstone and North Battleford, St. Walbert sitting at 27, and Green Lake, the only 30-degree mark in the region here that got to that point. But as we take a look right now, that we are still in a heat warning right now. As you can see, all this covered in pink there. All this, even though some areas are not in pink, everything should be in pink, as we are still in that heat warning. Temperatures could exceed close to that 30-degree marks. Make sure you're staying hydrated, staying cool, and taking breaks from the hot weather when you can. So as we take a look at temperatures overnight, North Battleford, pretty clear overnight. As we head into tomorrow, 32 degrees you can see in North Battleford for tomorrow with their daytime high. As we take a look at Cold Lake for tomorrow, 31 degrees will be their daytime high. So for us here, we're probably to get around the same here as we look here. Yeah, 30 degrees for us here in Lloydminster. The only difference is, though, we'll have some cloud coverage because we could have some showers coming in possibly into the Friday evening as well as into the coming days. But clear skies overnight, though, at 15 degrees and, like I mentioned, a 30-degree daytime high for tomorrow. As we take a look at the 3-day forecast now, I did mention that cloud coverage. We still could have some rain coming in on Friday as we drop 10 degrees with that daytime high of 20 and a 76% chance we could see some showers. Then we'll take a little bit of break from the rain that could continue on maybe into early Saturday morning, and then heading for the rest of the day, a high of 21 degrees and mostly sun and a bit of cloud coverage. But that is a first look at your weather forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
Battleford's Pride plans to continue their LGBTQ+ events this month with some changes for new safety guidelines. Our Shelby Clark got the details.
Joining us today is Battleford's Area Pride Secretary, Kelly Waters. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. What kind of events are usually planned for the LGBTQ+ community in August?
Well, normally a little bit more outdoor gathering type things. So we didn't know if we'd be able to do anything. A lot of the Pride groups have not been able to do anything, but there's been enough, I think, guideline relaxing where we can still be safe and do some events.
And what do you plan to do differently for this year's events for new health guidelines for the pandemic?
Well, the movie theater is very good about following the guidelines they need to for being a movie theater. So for the movie events, the movie theater will be following their guidelines. We will do some kind of a walk or a march. So we'll make sure to encourage mask use and social distancing. The flag raising, initially the city had said that couldn't be in person, but we've worked with the city on that. And it'll just be a few people spread out, a photo op, but the proclamation for the flag will be read out loud publicly, and a little bit of a small ceremony with the mayor before the flag is raised, because initially we were told we couldn't do that. So they're working with us on it, which is awesome. We'll be doing crosswalk painting again, so people can just work at a social distance, and that's fine. There'll be the first time, well, we've had drag shows before, but they're family friendly ones. So this time we're having one that's a 19+, and that'll be at a little club called Shenanigans. And Shenanigans has just reopened with their stage. So everything there will also be capacity that allows for safe distancing, encouraging mask use when people are walking around. Be nice if the government just made it easy and just said wear a mask, but we'll work with the guidelines that are in front of us and try to keep everybody safe. Just looking at what else we have. We want to have a little park event on the Saturday, the 22nd, but it is still 30 people max gathered. So we're trying to figure out how to work with that. Is it even possible to do it? We're still not sure. But maybe we could have something going at one end of the park and something at the other end of the park, very separate from each other, and no more than 30 people at each. Or we don't do it at all. We're still trying to figure that out. What else? Those are the things that for sure we have happening. It might be nice to have a workshop without Saskatoon. So we're raising awareness no matter what and having a few events.
And for the annual sidewalk painting event and your other ones, have you been getting lots of support and volunteers so far?
Oh, it's always really interesting. Lots of people want to help, want to support, want to know when it's happening. Battleford's awesome. block off the street, and usually even town council comes out and helps. So it's been in the same spot every year. In North Battleford, it's going to be in front of the library again. And we're really happy as the Discovery Co-op is donating paint again. And this year they've been really generous. They're giving us extra paint so that we can have a transgender colored themed, or whatever the colors that represent transgender for a crosswalk, and the rainbow ones. And they also told us this year that if there's any damage or vandalism, that they would help us out with extra paint too. So thank you, Discovery Co-op.
Oh, and why do you believe having these events during the pandemic is important for the community?
So many people feel isolated, and of course a lot of LGBTQ community people already feel isolated, and how do they connect? How do they feel welcomed? It's or family connected too. So it's like, no, we're here. You've got a source of support. Enjoy it from a distance, or come participate in a safe way. I think it's really important.
And for the donations for these events, where do they go to?
Well, sometimes there's fees involved to the city for permits for things. I just paid a $25 permit fee so we could do the crosswalks. They're donating the street closure fee. That's nice. If we'll have some kind of music. If it's not music in the park, we'll figure it out. I don't know, maybe we'll be taking the music out to the people and hauling a trailer around with music. I don't know. So paying the musicians, we want to buy some more merch supplies because people are always wanting to get those. We're running low on Battleford's Area Pride t-shirts, so I think we're going to get some more printed. So paying for all those kinds of things is really helpful. We're sponsoring the movie at the movie theater, so it helps pay for all these little things. None of them are super expensive, but they still have a cost.
Yeah. And how else can people support the LGBTQ plus community during this time, other than these events, of course?
Social media saying, yay, good for you. Yeah, it's always wonderful. People often will quietly come up to the side even and say, thank you for doing this, that they didn't feel comfortable for whatever reason being out in the open, but they'll come up and say to the side, thank you so much for doing this. So you can be right out in the open. You can, we've had anonymous money donations before. So there's been people that wanted to support with money, but for whatever reason wanted their identity kept secret. So there's lots of ways to support.
And is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm happy we're able to do something, because we had kind of assumed we really didn't know. And so I'm just really, really glad we're able to do something and have something recognized and still have our Pride Week safely with a few things. I'm happy about that. The drag show is going to be really fun.
Oh, I bet. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Kelly, and best of luck to the event, and I hope it goes over well.
Oh, thank you so much.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
Last night, Legion Ballpark was the home of the Battle on the Border. The Lloydminster Twins and Border City Blue Jays duked it out in each of their final regular season game. Evan Kenny has more on the outcome.
The second matchup of the season for the two Lloydminster senior baseball teams is now in the books. Game 1 of the season series went to the Twins, winning 6-1. Last night, a similar story.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, had a couple losses against them in the past few years, so it's really good to win both games against them this year.
6-2 was the final score, but the play was closer than 4 runs. Heading into the 3rd inning, the game was scoreless with only 2 combined base runners. The Blue Jays ended up getting their 2 runs in the bottom of the 3rd off a single by Ryan Kolarchuk. The Twins would respond with their own offense coming in the 7th inning. Back-to-back doubles helped score 3 runs.
Well, I mean, all game we were kind of hitting the ball, just right 2 guys, and I think, it just paid off. We kept getting the bat on the ball and finally just got some holes and scored a few runs, pull us ahead.
This was each team's final regular season games, with playoffs starting this weekend. The NSRBL playoff picture has the Border City Blue Jays playing the Mervyn Flyers Thursday night, while the Lloydminster Twins can ride their momentum into their Saturday game.
Yeah, no, it's huge, especially going into playoffs. Everyone loves that momentum going in, that boost. We feel good, like we're above the rest sort of thing, but we just got to stay level-headed and keep going,
The Twins will play the 2nd lowest seed team from Thursday's matchups. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now we're Connor Chan. We'll take a look at your weather forecast.
All right, thanks very much, Jasmine. Taking a look at temperatures right now. It's still sitting at that 27-degree mark right now. Looking at Edmonton, 28 degrees right now with Edson and Athabasca and Red Deer also sitting at 27. Jasper and Rocky Mountain House also sitting at that 28-degree mark, and Whitecourt sitting right now at 26. As we move out a little bit east, 27 also for North Battleford, 29 degrees in Prince Albert with 28 degrees for Saskatoon. Now, as we look over into the northern areas right now, 27 for La Loche and Buffalo Narrows, 27 in Fort McMurray right now, and then 28 for L'Orange, Flin Flon, and 27 also out in South End with 22 degrees in Wollaston Lake. I should mention we are still in that heat warning for most of southern Alberta and that Midwest regions, as well as further out west into Edmonton. The southern Saskatchewan areas are not in the heat warning right now, but take a look at some other northern temperatures. 27 degrees in Slave Lake and Grand Prairie with Peace River, sitting at 24 degrees and high level at 26. Now here's where, of course, it gets really, really warm. There is the heat warning, of course. You can see it there with Lethbridge sitting at 32 degrees for the high there, and Medicine Hat sitting at 33 degrees, with Coronation sitting at 30 degrees as well, and then 30 also in Banff with 29 degrees out in Calgary. Now over in the southern Saskatchewan areas as well, it's still pretty warm, but they're not in the heat warning like we are here in the Midwest region here, but 29 for Moose Jaw and Swift Current with 30 degrees out in Kindersley, and then 27 in Regina, Yorkton, and in Estevan. Now, as we look over into the national temperatures right now, 28 in Winnipeg with a little bit of cloud coverage there, 23 in Quebec City, 22 in Toronto right now, St. John sitting at 17 with some cloud coverage and sun there, Halifax at 24 degrees. We move over into further west Vancouver, a little bit of cloud coverage sitting at a high of 25 degrees. Edmonton, of course, all sunshine with a high of 28 degrees. And as we look at temperatures for tomorrow, the heat warning could continue on into the next coming days until Friday, where we could possibly see some showers, as well as into the Friday evening and even early, possibly even into Saturday as well. But tomorrow, 30 degrees for us will be our daytime high. We'll see a lot of 30s throughout the region here, as you can see here, 31 for Marwayne, Vermilion, and Wainwright, 30 also out for Vegreville and St. Paul, with 31 up north in Bonnyville, Cold Lake, and Pierceland, 29 degrees for Edmonton, Provo sitting at 32 degrees, Macklin at 33 tomorrow, North Battleford also sitting at that 32-degree mark, and 32 we'll see also for Meadow Lake and Green Lake as well. So here's a look at what we could see over the next 7 days. Some showers, as I mentioned, for Friday with that high at 20 degrees. We have a 76% chance we could see some showers there. 21 for both Saturday and on Sunday. We'll have clear skies for both days. A little bit of cloud coverage there on Saturday. We get a little cooler on Monday with that high of 19 degrees. Lots more cloud coverage coming on the next couple of days there for that, starting off the new week with that high of 19 on Monday and then a high of 26 on Tuesday. Cloud coverage continuing on into Wednesday with the high of 23. We usually average around 24 for our high and 11 degrees for our low, so we're well above seasonal averages. That's a look at your 7-day forecast. We'll have more primetime local news coming up after the break.
So I'm joined today with Alice Pedersen. She's joining me from Berryview Farms, and we're going to be talking a little bit about how the picking season went. Thanks for taking some time to talk with me today, Alice.
You're welcome. Anytime.
So just starting off, could you just tell me a little bit about how things work at Berryview Farms and what exactly your business is?
Okay, we have a Saskatoon orchard. We also have some raspberries here. People come and they can either you pick, or we have some that are pre-picked for them. Usually the pre-pick we have to order ahead, and yeah, people can just come out and pick. A lot of people do like bring their families and pick with their families, and then we have pies and tarts and that kind of stuff for them to have afterwards.
And I'm guessing that Saskatoon berry are the big popular commodity that you guys have that people enjoy picking.
Yes, yeah, mostly Saskatoons here, yeah.
Perfect. And how did I know the picking season started around the mid-July-ish kind of thing. How has the season gone so far?
Yeah, we started about the 20th of July. We, first of all, some of the berries that we usually pick, we had a little bit of a bird issue with, so there wasn't quite so many berries this year. But it went really well. We've had lots and lots of customers and lots of new ones that come out, maybe because of it's something they can do with their family and get out of the house with everything going on this year. And so we've had a lot of new people as well as our old regular people come and pick.
Yeah, and that's something I was going to talk about, is how the pandemic has impacted your Berryview Farms, because you guys don't really open to picking until the summer, and that's kind of when things started to open up. So you mentioned you saw an increase of people. Have there been kind of any changes from other years because of the pandemic, or have things kind of been able to be the same because it's not like people are crowding together as much?
It's pretty much the same. We do some extra cleaning, like with the bathrooms and that. Pretty much, yeah. We've got 10 acres of Saskatoons. You can definitely social distance out here. And yeah, it was something that the families could do and not have to worry about too many people around or being in a crowded situation. And yeah, so it worked out pretty good this year.
And when it comes to the season, I know we're kind of coming up near the tail end of things, but are people still able to come by and stop by and pick out some berries that they're wanting?
Yeah, we're saying probably the end of the week will be the end of it. There's still some out here, but it's a lot harder picking than it was at the beginning of the season because there's not as many berries. Mm-hmm. And with the storm we had the other night, it blew a lot of them off as well. So there's still berries out there, but it's a lot harder picking for sure.
And for people who are interested in coming out and picking, or maybe having them picked, what should people do before they come? Should they call ahead?
For pre-pick, definitely call ahead. Yeah, probably for both. Just call ahead. Just make sure we're still open, and yeah, that would be the best.
Perfect. And then where are you guys located? What's your phone number?
We are south of Marshall, 6 kilometers south of Marshall, 1 west and 1 south. There's signs all the way once you get to Marshall. And our phone number is 306-387-6531.
And also early in the year, I know you guys came to the Border City Farmers Market and sold some berries there. How did that go?
It went really well. I am the president of the Border City Farmers Market, so I thought with the way that things were going and I wasn't doing anything else that we should take our product there. And I was pleasantly surprised at how well it went, for sure.
That's awesome. It's good people are able to get some berries that are, locally grown. And I know Saskatoon berries are very popular for, baking and a whole bunch of stuff. So great people.
Yeah. And then I had my jams and jellies and syrups as well there. So people were stocking up on that kind of stuff as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with me today. And I hope some people during the last little bit of the season this week are able to enjoy the weather and go out and pick the last of the berries out at Berryview.
Yes. Yes, for sure. We hope to see them here.